Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So as I was saying, it's really, really wonderful to be back with everyone. It feels like it has been an entire lifetime. I don't even know if this is the same Chittagopa you're looking at. Actually, in fact, if we were to ask, Srila Prabhupada is definitely not the same. Not the same one. Even not the same one as I was yesterday. So I feel incredibly fortunate and really somehow or other showered with mercy to even be able to be back with everyone, speaking on the glories of Ekadashi of all things, my favorite. And this is an Ekadashi, it is known as Papamocani. And so this Ekadashi completely clears out all sins, eradicates anxieties. It's like a good spring cleaning for the soul. And since we are now involved in this spring, which could be debatable, especially in New York, but the calendar says it's supposedly spring, and so now we get a good spring cleaning for our souls. So we're going to dive in. As I was thinking about this lecture and really kind of just reflecting on the pastime for this Ekadashi, what was really impressed upon me is that our faith is everything. And so we'll kind of keep that theme in mind as we journey through the story of this incredible Ekadashi. So Sri Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, I have heard from you the explanation of Amalaki Ekadashi, which occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Falgun, February-March. And now I wish to hear about the Ekadashi that occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, March-April. What is its name, O Lord, and what results can one obtain by observing it? And this is always a meditation for me, that Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers had the freedom and the liberty, the merciful access to sit with Krishna and ask him whatever they wanted. How incredible would it be to have as your family member, as your near and dear one, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You could sit with Shri Krishna, ask him whatever you want. And actually, we kind of have that opportunity every day, every moment. Every time we are sitting and chanting the holy names, we have the opportunity to ask our beloved Shri Krishna whatever we want. And so it reminds me to make the best use of this time. Do I want to waste it by asking the most frivolous questions? Or do I want to use it to advance not only my own plight, but the plight of the entire universe? Yudhishthira Maharaj asks questions for the benefit of the entire creation. So Lord Shri Krishna replied, O best of kings, for the benefit of everyone, I shall gladly describe to you the glories of this Ekadashi, which is known as Papamocani. The history of this Ekadashi was once narrated to the Emperor Mandata by Lomasa Rishi. King Mandata addressed the Rishi, O great sage, for the benefit of all people, please tell me the name of the Ekadashi that occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, and please explain the process for observing it. Also, please describe the benefits one gains by observing this Ekadashi. Lomasa Rishi replied, the Ekadashi that occurs during the dark part of the month of Chaitra is named Papamocani Ekadashi. For the faithful devotees, it removes the influences of ghosts and demons. O lion among men, this Ekadashi also awards the 8 perfections of life, fulfills all kinds of desires, purifies one's life of all sinful reactions, and makes a person perfectly virtuous. Now please listen to a historical account concerning this Ekadashi and Chitrarat, the chief of the Gandharvas, or heavenly musicians. During the spring season, in the company of heavenly dancing girls, Chitrarat once came upon a beautiful forest, bursting forth with a great variety of flowers. There he and the girls joined the Gandharvas and many Kinnaras, along with Lord Indra himself, the king of heaven, who was enjoying a visit there. Everyone felt that there was no better garden than this forest. Many sages were also present, performing their austerities and penances. The demigods particularly enjoyed visiting the celestial garden during the months of Chaitra and Vaishak, April, May. A great sage named Madhavi resided in that forest, and the very attractive dancing girls would always attempt to seduce him. One famous girl in particular, Manju Ghosh, contrived many ways to allure the exalted Muni, but, out of great respect for the sage and fear of his power, which he had attained after years and years of asceticism, she would not come very close to him. At a spot 2 miles from the sage, she pitched a tent and began singing very sweetly as she played a tambura. It almost seems as though this is sport for the apsaras to try and somehow seduce these sages. It seems like a very dangerous sport, though, if you ask me. Cupid himself became excited when he saw and heard her perform so nicely, and smelled the fragrance of her sandalwood paste unguent. He remembered his own unfortunate experience with Lord Shiva, and decided to take revenge by seducing Madhavi. This is referring to the time where Lord Shiva was displeased with Cupid and opened his third eye and burnt him to ashes. And from then on, Cupid was known as Ananga, one who has no form, no limbs. And so now, Cupid decided to take revenge on that unfortunate incident with this poor sage who didn't do anything to anybody. Using the eyebrows of Manju Ghosh as a bow, her glances as a bowstring, her eyes as arrows, and her breasts as a target, Cupid approached Madhavi in order to tempt him to break his trance and his vows. In other words, Cupid engaged Manju Ghosh as his assistant, and when she looked at that powerful and attractive young sage, she also became agitated by lust. Seeing that he was highly intelligent and learned, wearing a clean white Brahmin's thread draped across his shoulder, holding a sannyasi's staff, and sitting handsomely in the ashram of Chavana Rishi, Manju Ghosh came before him. She began to sing seductively, and the small bells of her belt and around her ankles, together with the bangles on her wrists, produced a delightful musical symphony. The sage Madhavi was enchanted. He understood that this beautiful young woman desired union with him, and at that instant, Cupid increased his attraction for Manju Ghosh by releasing powerful weapons of taste, touch, sight, smell, and sound. Slowly, Manju Ghosh approached Madhavi, her bodily movements and sweet glances attracting him. She gracefully put her tampura down and embraced the sage with her 2 arms, just as a creeper winds itself around a strong tree. Captivated, Madhavi gave up his meditation and decided to sport with her, and instantly his purity of heart and mind abandoned him. Forgetting even the difference between night and day, he went away with her to sport for a long, long time. Seeing that the young yogi's sanctity had become seriously eroded, Manju Ghosh decided to abandon him and return home. She said, "O great one, please permit me to return home." Madhavi replied, "But you have only just arrived, O beautiful one. Please stay with me at least until tomorrow." Fearful of the sage's yogic power, Manju Ghosh stayed with Madhavi for precisely 57 years, 9 months, and 3 days. But to Madhavi, All this time seemed like a moment. Again she asked him, "Please permit me to leave." Maidvi replied, "Oh, dear one, listen to me. Stay with me for one more night, and then you may leave tomorrow morning. Just stay with me until I have performed my morning duties and chanted the sacred Gayatri mantra. Please wait until then." Manju Ghosh was still fearful of the sage's great yogic power, but she forced a smile and said, "How long will it take you to finish your morning hymns and rituals? Please be merciful, and think of all the time you have already spent with me." The sage reflected on the years he had been with Manju Ghosh, and then said with great astonishment, "Why, I have spent more than 57 years with you." His eyes turned red and began to emanate sparks. He now regarded Manju Ghosh as death personified and the destroyer of his spiritual life. "You rascal woman! You have turned all the hard-earned results of my austerities to ashes." Trembling with anger, he cursed Manju Ghosh. "O sinful one! O hard-hearted, degraded one! You know only sin. May all terrible fortune be yours. O rascal woman, I curse you to become an evil hobgoblin, a pishacha." Cursed by the sage, Maidvi, the beautiful Manju Ghosh humbly beseeched him, "O best of the Brahmins, please be merciful to me and revoke your curse. O great one, it is said that the association with pure devotees gives immediate results, but their curses take effect only after 7 days, which we see in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. I have been with you for 57 years. O master, please be kind to me." Maidvi Muni replied, "O gentle lady, what can I possibly do? You have destroyed all of my austerities. But even though you have done this sinful deed, I shall tell you a way you can be released from my wrath. In the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra, there is an all-auspicious Ekadashi that removes all one's sins. Its name is Papamocani. O beautiful one, whoever fasts on this sacred day becomes completely freed from having to take birth in any kind of devilish form." With these words, the sage left at once for his father's ashram. Seeing him enter the hermitage, Chavana Muni said, "O son, by acting unlawfully, you have squandered the wealth of your penances and austerities." Maidvi replied, "O father, kindly reveal what atonement I must perform to remove the obnoxious sin I have incurred by privately associating with the dancing girl Manju Ghosh." Chavan Muni answered, "Dear son, you must fast on Papamocani Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Chaitra. It eradicates all sins, no matter how grievous they may be." Maidvi followed his father's advice and fasted on Papamocani Ekadashi. Thus, all his sins were destroyed, and he again became filled with excellent merit. Similarly, Manju Ghosh observed the same fast and became free of the hobgoblin curse. Ascending once again to the heavenly spheres, she too returned to her former position. Lomasa Rishi continued, "Thus, O king, the great benefit of fasting on Papamocani Ekadashi is that whoever does so with faith and devotion will have all his sins completely destroyed." Sri Krishna concluded, "O King Yudhisthira, whoever reads or hears about Papamocani Ekadashi obtains the very same merit he would get if he donated 1,000 cows in charity. He also nullifies the sinful reactions he may have incurred by causing the death of a Brahmana, causing the death of an embryo through the killing in the womb, drinking liquor, or uniting with his guru's wife. Such is the incalculable benefit of properly observing this holy day of Papamocani Ekadashi, which is so dear to me and so meritorious." Thus ends the narration of the glories of Chaitra Krishna Ekadashi, or Papamocani Ekadashi, from the Bhavishya Uttara Purana. So we see that just the association with a wonderful Vaishnav gives immediate results. But we can remember that the negative effects of the curses take effect only after 7 days, which we hear from this incredible tale of Maharaj Parikshit that we have, which spans the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. But one who hears this story, just here, or reads it with faith and devotion. So again, our faith is everything. Our faith is incredibly and directly linked to our spiritual advancement. And Srila Prabhupada says within the 9th chapter of Sri Bhagavad Gita that our faith is actually very much connected to our association. So our faith is everything. And in that regard, our association becomes everything. Who are we giving our time to? Who are we associating with? All of you Bhagavatam warriors coming every morning, giving all of this priceless association, it is bolstering faith. The appearance day of Srivas Thakur just passed. And Srivas Acharya is such an example of incredible faith. His faith in the holy name, in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was everything. And sometimes if we don't remember that we know Srivas, we know him because the Srivas Adigora Bhaktivinoda, every Panchatattva mantra, we can't have a Panchatattva without Srivas. Srivas was so incredibly exalted that he was there at the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He and his wife Malini were such good family friends of Jagannath Mishra and Shachimata that they were like an uncle and aunt to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Malini, in fact, helped deliver Lord Chaitanya from Shachimata's body. And she acted as a nurse to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So this is the incredible family of Srivas Thakur, Srivas Pandit, Srivas Acharya. And as the child grew up, Jagannath Mishra would often ask Srivas, please, can you discipline my son? He won't listen to me. But sometimes it takes the village. And here, you are just like his uncle. Please, can you discipline him? And after Jagannath Mishra left the planet, when Nimai was still a young boy, Srivas would often ask Nimai, so Nimai, what arrogant thing are you wasting your time with today? Because Nimai was such an arrogant scholar. He knew all about debate. And he knew that he could defeat anybody in any kind of debate, especially when it came to logic. And so Navadvip at that time was such a big seat of learning, like a university town. And everyone there, their sport of choice was debate. So you see any of these big colleges that are known for their debate skills and their debate teams, this was the entirety of Navadvipdom. So Navadvip was known for all of its debates, and no one could defeat Nimai. I mean, of course, he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but also no one could debate him. No one could defeat him. And so Srivas would ask him, what are you wasting your time with today? And he would secretly pray within his heart, and when will you fulfill the reason for your birth and become the Vaishnava, the exalted Vaishnava that I know that you can be? And sometimes Nimai would say to Srivas, one day I will become such a Vaishnava that even you will weep. And then he would go on about his day. And so finally, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back from performing his father's last rites in Gaya, and he was now exhibiting so many symptoms of ecstasy, everyone within the town of Navadvip thought that he had gone crazy. And so they would tell Shachimata, all you have to do is give him this remedy or that remedy, tie him to a tree, put him in a vat of Kali oil, do all kinds of this, say these mantras, do these tantras, do these pujas, do all of these things, because clearly he has some sort of imbalance. Somehow he has been possessed. Something is up with your Vishwambar, with your Nimai. So now we see no other way to rectify this than to somehow or other perform all of these remedies. Finally, Srivas came to the home of Shachimata and Nimai. And Nimai asked, he said, my dear uncle, everyone says that there is some imbalance within me. Everyone says that they think I'm crazy. What do you think? Shiva said, "Oh, Vishwambar, what you have is what I pray for. This is not a sickness. You are afflicted with love of God. You are exhibiting symptoms of not being able to live for a moment without Krishna. What you have is what I want. I pray for it every day. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you." And Mahaprabhu famously says, "Oh, this is so wonderful. Thank you. Because had you said that something was wrong with me, I would have believed you on the spot, and I would have jumped into the Ganga to end my life." And always, every time I think about that story, I think, well, no pressure. I'm really glad that he gave him the right response, because really, what would we have done? But this was Srivasa's faith. His faith was so strong that once Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Srivasa and he says, "Acharya, I never see you working. Like you don't have a day job." Srivasa says, "Well, yeah, no." And Mahaprabhu says, "Well, why not?" He says, "It's not really my inclination." And Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, but you have a wife and children and families, and that you can't just tell your wife that working is not your inclination. She's not going to accept that. How is it that you maintain yourself? Because somehow or other, she is allowing this, and your family is allowing this, and everyone is going along with your plan. There must be some secret that you have. And Srivasa said, "Well, my secret is this." Mahaprabhu said, "Well, what does 3 claps mean?" And Srivasa said, "Well, this means that whenever I need something, if ever I've been in need, I chant the holy name, I increase my chanting for 3 days, and the Lord supplies whatever is necessary. If he gives it, then I was meant to have it. And if he doesn't give, then I wasn't meant to have it." Mahaprabhu says, "This really works for you? You really live with that amount of faith?" Srivasa says, "We can put it to the test if you like. I'll sit and increase my chanting for 3 days, and if the Lord does not provide food and shelter and everything that my family needs, then I'll happily tie a pot around my neck and jump in the Ganga, effectively ending my life." Mahaprabhu said, No, this is not necessary. This is not, I understand, and I know that you are fully prepared to really follow through. This is not an idle threat. Don't worry. In fact, because of your faith, you will always have more than enough. Not just you, not just your family, but the maidservants and the house help within your family, even the animals that reside in your family, even the insects that cross by your door will always have their needs provided for. Don't worry. You will always have everything that you need. And so this was the faith of Srivas. And every so often, if I've ever been in need of an answer to a really serious problem that I've had, I do call it the Srivas method. I increase my japa for 3 days, and usually at the end of those 3 days, whatever answer is the answer. Krishna sends an answer. So many people have tried this method. I have heard of great Vaishnavas who have needed money to open temples, to do all kinds of things. They've simply sat and chanted the holy name constantly for 3 days, and literally, funds come, things drop out of the sky like blessings. Just, there it is. And all it takes is our faith in the holy name. And sometimes we don't have enough faith on our own, just in Krishna. But we can have faith in the Vaishnavas. Sometimes we need these examples because then we think, oh, well, if this person did it, it must work. I've seen proof. I understand it works. The method works. Just keep to the same formula. And so that's why I give these examples of, yeah, I've tried it. Whenever I've been in need of an answer to a serious problem, or if I've been in anxiety, you too can try it. Just increase your japa, however much you can. Increase your japa for 3 days. Chant earnestly. trying to hear the Mahamantra as much as possible. Understanding that, oh my Lord, I surrender to whatever the answer is that you're giving after these 3 days. And I promise you, answers come. Now, the question is, do we trust Krishna enough to surrender to the answer that he's giving? Whether it's the answer that we wanted, or whether it's a different answer. The answer will be extremely clear. I can tell you that. And if we surrender to the answer that Krishna is giving, it will also lead to the greatest adventure that we've ever gone on in our entire lives. And that's the kind of adventure that I'm always down for. I'm not a rock climber or an extreme sport person, but when it comes to spiritual activities like that, I'm always down for that kind of adventure. And I can tell you, it creates miracles. It opens up our eyes and our hearts to so many miracles that are already happening around us. And then we get to watch it like it's a great movie. It's really cool. So this is Srivas. Srivas was so faithful to the holy name, so incredibly faithful to the Panchatattva. His love for Gaurnitai knew no bounds. One day, because Srivas and Malini allowed Lord Nityananda to stay within their home for a very long time. One day, Lord Chaitanya comes to the home of Srivas and Malini to see Nitai. And Mahaprabhu would often give Nitai many instructions which sounded like, why are you so restless? And why are you so crazy? No one can understand your fits of madness. And then it just gives all of us a bad name. And so one day he took his complaints to Srivas. He said, you're keeping this avadut in your house, and I don't think it's very good for you. He's going to give not only you a bad name, but your entire family a bad name. Who knows what he will do? In fact, he goes around, he preaches to questionable people. He hangs around with questionable people. Who knows what his character is like? We're not even really sure that he's a Brahmin. We think he's a sannyasi, but does he dress like a sannyasi? No. Sannyasi is supposed to carry dandas made of bamboo and wood, and his is like copper plated with silver. Like, we don't understand what's going on with him, and so I don't think that you should keep him in your house any longer. And Srivas turned to Mahaprabhu and he smiled. He said, my lord, I know you are just trying to see what my love for Nitai is like. I can tell you, even if someone told me, even with my own eyes, if I saw Nitai in a tavern, in a bar, with the liquor in hand, and the other arm embracing a prostitute, still, that would never diminish my love for Nitai. I trust him with everything that I have. I can never kick him out of my house. I don't know what to tell you. I would still have every ounce of faith in Lord Nityananda. I would still know that he's only gone in there to preach. I'm sure of it. Gauranga Mahaprabhu embraced Srivas. And he began to dance with joy. And he said, this was the answer that I was looking for. He said, because you have such faith in my Nitai, and because you have housed a Vaishnav such as Nitai, because you have given him everything, you have fed him, you've clothed him, you've given him everything at your disposal, you will never want for anything. This is how dear my Nitai is to me. Even if the goddess of fortune has to go begging door to door, you will never have any lack of wealth. Not material, not spiritual, not physical, not emotional. You will never lack anything. In fact, Lord Chaitanya loved Srivas so much that he famously says in one pastime, myself and Nitai are like your very own sons. We are your own family members. Treat us like your eldest sons. This is what faith does. Our faith is everything. And Srivas's faith had him associating with Sri Nityananda Prabhu. This is what our faith can do. Our faith, like Hanuman's, can move mountains. Our faith can endear us to the Lord of the universe. That faith is what Nitya is looking for. That faith is what Gauranga Mahaprabhu is looking for. That faith is something that all of us have, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of what body we are in or not in. That faith keeps us held together. That faith can change our fate, because simply inquiring with faith from a Vaishnav, what can I do to change my life? And then a Vaishnav says, all you have to do is simply fast on Ekadashi, and everything will be changed for you. If we can simply do that to the best of our ability with faith, we get merit that is incalculable. Our faith is the price of admission. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Lord Nityananda has opened the marketplace of the holy name. The price of admission is simply faith. That is the greatest thing that we have, and that is all that Gaura is looking for from us. Is there even a hint, a glimmer of a tear in the eye of a person as they chant the holy name? Nitya is writing, I'll give you myself. Purchase me, no problem, please. For the price of faith, Nitya is running behind us. Please take this holy name. Please take everything that I have. Please take all my love for Radha Krishna. Please take all of my love for Radha Govinda. Please take all of my love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our Nityananda Prabhu is not miserly. And so he wants to give you everything that he has. If we'll just give the smallest ounce of faith. And so on this Ekadashi day, I reflect on all the great Vaishnavas and the fact that our faith really is everything. Our faith holds the key to all of our spiritual lives. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. I wish you all the most blissful and happy Ekadashi, filled with faith, filled with devotion. We've gotten so much merit just by hearing and reading the glories of Ekadashi with faith. That's all it takes. Ekadashi Devi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Achyuta Gopi Devi Dasi ki jai. Where does the faith come from? From Krishna miracles, when Krishna really comes through and surprises you? What if Krishna stays quiet? How will we experience faith without Krishna working miracles?
That's interesting that you can somehow say without Krishna working
I know,
miracles.
yeah, it sounds terrible. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we are like the spoiled, entitled children, where Krishna decides to have all of our bodily organs and functions working without us. Like, I don't have to wake up, turn on my lungs. I don't have to wake up, and pop my eyes back in. Like, I don't have to do any of those things. And then I'm like, you know what, Lord, how do I keep this faith if you don't work miracles? And he's like, there's an entire universe with it. You're on a spinning planet. And funny enough, our Lord never says that. He never is like, do you know all that I've done for you? Somehow or other, our Lord never says, do you know everything that I've done for you? He just simply creates more situations for us to call upon him. And then he creates more miracles after we've called upon him. But, Srila Prabhupada, this is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 3. The first 3 texts of chapter 9 are really cool. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. The faithless, this is the purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, faith is a most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith. So Srila Prabhupada's opinion and his instruction is that faith comes from association with Vaishnavas. And real faith, actual faith, is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. So faith kind of has nothing to do with all of the miracles that we think we need as evidence. And why do we need so much more evidence? That is an us problem, not a Krishna problem. That is a boundary with us that we then can look at and say, okay, I want to remove the obstacle of my entitlement. I want to remove the obstacle of my entitlement, which says, oh Lord, you should prove to me, then maybe I'll believe you. When our Lord has been proving it to us above and beyond, Sri Krishna reserves the right not even to expose himself and to be known by anyone, everyone, anybody. And yet he says, I'll give myself to you. You, Ananda Bihari Prabhu, I'll give myself to you, no problem. I will allow you to have access to the holy name, which he doesn't give to anybody, because by that holy name, now you can purchase me. I'm sold forever. But you, I'll give myself to. And I'll give myself to anyone who wants to call on me, just with that faith that simply by serving Krishna, I can achieve all perfection. And so, as I said, even if we don't have faith in Sri Krishna, we can have faith in the Vaishnavas. And that association with Vaishnavas is priceless, because that faith comes from the association with Vaishnavas.
You, Ananda Bihari, is a spoiled brat. That's what Krishna says.
But still, and then he says, and then still I give myself to you, no problem.
Thank you, Achyuta Gopi. Thank you. Okay, dear Vaishnavas, it's your turn. Please ask questions, share reflections. Temple room, Adipurusha Prabhu, Ekeshwara Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu. Yes, no? Unmute. Ram, you have a reflection? Ram wants to lick the phone. He loves you so much, dear Vaishnava.
He's drinking the nectar of the Bhagavatam lectures. We should all follow in the footsteps of Ram.
Ram, can you hear us?
Yeah, he can hear you.
Yeah, he goes reaching for the phone. So, yeah, whenever I hear this thing about how we observe the Ekadashi and then our sins are taken away, we're really remembering how merciful Krishna is, given us such access to purification. And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada says, that removing the reactions of our sinful activity is one thing, but then uprooting the root, the desire to engage further in sinful activity is a step further. The bathing the Ganges and the sinful reactions are taken away. The bathing the Jamuna and the desire to do anything less than anything devious to do anything is taken away. That's important. And then bathing in the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, we become fully absorbed in devotional service to Krishna. And remove everything else is accomplished. So this is good. And there's also a deeper, everything's been spoken very nicely. Mataji gave such a sweet, sweet class with such joy and conviction. It's hard to contribute anything beyond that. But if you want to mention the way Srila Prabhupada talks about incremental purification, removing the reactions, removing the desire to accumulate other sinful reactions, and then to become dedicated to pure devotional service to Krishna, unceasing, unpolluted, is the where we're going with all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, glory to Srila Prabhupada. Bhima Prabhu.
Haribo Prabhu Jini Maharani. Could you parse the idea that in Saint Paul of Christ that we have these three things: faith, hope, and love. But of these things, love is the greatest. For if thou have the faith to move at the mountain, but have no love, you have done nothing. So could you explain to us this dichotomy, or synthesize it together?
You mean that there's a seeming dichotomy, or like a different level between faith and love?
Yeah, like faith is empty. It's sort of like we do a service, we fast, we do this, but there's no love there. Now I understand as neophytes, obviously we're not going to have love at first. We hardly even know Krishna. How can we love him? So the thing is that through time, Krishna reveals himself and we learn to love him. I understand that aspect there. But how does one have all this faith to move a mountain and yet have no love?
Well, I'll give an example using two people who move mountains. Ravana was able to move Mount Kailash. Hanuman was able to move this entire Himalayan mountain. So two people have immeasurable strength and the same seeming ability. Ravana was very, very strong, could move mountains. Hanuman, very, very strong, could move mountains. The faith depends on, it's what you have faith in, right? So now Ravana had faith in his own abilities to perform great austerities and to move mountains. But his moving of that Mount Kailash got him cursed. Hanuman's moving of the mountain, and he brought it back and was able to give renewed life and rejuvenation to Lakshman, and he got the greatest blessing of being embraced by Sri Ram, who was trembling with love for his dear devotee. So there is a different motivation between all of that. And what they both had faith in was different. Ravana had faith in his own abilities and his ability to try and be the supreme person. Hanuman did everything he did was with the faith in the holy name of Sri Ram. Because prior to, he had abilities but had no desire, no inclination, not even a remembrance that he had those abilities. And when Jambavan reminded him, he said, yes, I can do everything for my Sri Ram. With the power of the name of Ram, I can do everything. Case in point, when Hanuman is throwing all of the rocks into the ocean and they're floating, Ram tosses rocks in and they sink. He says, well, what's happening? And Hanuman says, I have faith in your holy name. This faith in your holy name is causing all of these rocks to float. He said, but you are the Supreme Lord. It doesn't work for you. So this faith has to go hand in hand with loving devotion. And if our loving devotion is only for ourselves, then sometimes our great, great prowess gets us cursed. But if it goes hand in hand with loving devotion for the Supreme Person, then we move mountains for the right purpose.
Perfect answer, Maharani.
Thank you.
We're moving wheelbarrow. Tomorrow we're going to move mountains. All right, darshan time. Cameras on, please.
Jai Ho. Jai Shri Radha Murlidhara Shri Gaura Chandra Ki Jai. Wishing everybody a happy Ekadashi. Thank you for being here with me. It's really, really good to be back. Really, really enjoyed spending this Ekadashi day with all of you. And I am hoping to be back more frequently on these YouTube lives and to give some encouragement, read some more Krishna book. We left off reading Krishna book at a very pivotal point. So I'm hoping that I can try and find some time to continue those. Life has been incredibly busy, but never too busy for some Krishna Katha. So I'm praying that you all stay involved and you stay engaged in reading and hearing and chanting about Krishna. And if you find something really, really cool that you've read, write me an email. Send me a little note. Let me know. Let's all join together and love Krishna Katha together. See you all in the next Ekadashi. Hare Krishna, Ekadashi Devi Ki Jai.